Hey, what is going on you guys? It's Epic here, and what do you think of today's video? I think this is actually probably the best one we've had yet. Do me a favor guys, leave a comment suggesting a new view for the next video, and if I use it, I'll put your comment at the start of the video. But guys, we are here today because I am going to be showing you my Feast M4STER FL4K build for Mayhem 4. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably know that I said I was going to take a break before releasing this build video, but since the Maliwan Takedown balancing patch is coming out tomorrow at the time of recording this video, I wanted to release this build today. And you're probably like, Epic, why are you doing that? And the answer is simple. Too many people are going to tell me that this build is, this is after that Maliwan Takedown's been balanced. It's not really that strong. So I thought, what better way to show off the build by showing it the day before it gets made easier. So the build, as always, is on screen right now. And while you guys are taking a look at that, I just want to say that yes, this is going to be quite a heavily gear dependent build, and I know there's going to be a lot of you mad at me for that, but trust me, the position that FL4K is in right now and just overall how difficult Mayhem 4 is, this has to be a gear dependent build. I have tried and tried and tried with so many different techniques and build styles, but none of them can utilize this build well without the proper anointed gear. So I'm very sorry, but yes, this is quite a gear dependent build. But hey, it's endgame and you want to solo an endgame activity, what can you expect? And also, while you're reading through that build, I just want to thank one person in particular for helping me out with this build. You guys probably know him, and I definitely know him. He's a fellow Borderlands content creator here on the YouTube and Twitch platforms, and his name is Moxsy. This dude is honestly the build god. I came to him and I was like, Moxsy, this build is driving me up the walls. Like, this is impossible, nobody can possibly make a great build. But he was like, calm down man, I'm gonna help you out. And so he did. He helped me refine this build. I removed some of the unnecessary skills and it works great. So without him, this build definitely would not have been possible. So if you want to check out Moxsy's YouTube and his Twitch and all of his socials, you can find them in the first links in the description. Whilst making this build, I tried my hardest to maximize damage, so most of the skill tree is highly centered around getting the most damage out of FL4K as possible, and to do that we also utilize Anointments and the Recursion shotgun, which we will get into later on. Survivability was also something I wanted to be top priority, and the items greatly help with that, and we're going to get into them in just a second. For our skill, I decided to go with rack attack because fade away, in my opinion, just took too long to keep getting back up, whereas rack attack, I just found that I constantly had it up non-stop. You also get a little bit of lifesteal from rack attack, and while I barely ever prioritize using it on the battlefield, it does help me out in some situations. If you don't already know, FL4K has like no lifesteal skills at all, so I would definitely say that having lifesteal on them rack is very helpful. Our pet is kind of a pushover. I wouldn't say that your pet is going to be dying 24/7, but he's definitely not killing anything. But I did try my hardest to make sure that your pet is kept alive most of the time. Now let's jump into the items for this build, and oddly enough, compared to the Shotgun Zane build, there's actually not a lot of items for this build. But since it is quite a gear dependent build, there are going to be some items that you guys are definitely gonna hate, and you're gonna hate to farm them, and I am so sorry, but just know that you definitely need them. So the first and most important weapon in this build is the projectile recursion with the ×2 damage if you can get it, and an action skill end elemental anointment. I'll get into just why this is extremely OP later on, but some of you might already know. But for now, let's move on to the next item. So as you'll find out later on, you do need to do certain things to proc the recursion. So when you're downed and your pet is dead and there's situations where you don't have it procced, I have the ion cannon. Again, ×2 on the damage for maximum DPS. This should be able to one-shot any enemy, even in Mayhem 4 when you're down. So if you're down on the floor in the Maliwan Takedown and one of them flying orbs is moving all over the place, this is what you're going to need to get a second wind on them. Really great weapon, really handy for just getting yourself up. Use it like you would a Northfleet in Borderlands 2. Next up, when I'm just running around playing the game, I have a Maggie. Again, I've got an Anointment here, but I will say it's not all that important. You don't really have to focus on anointing your Maggie, but it does help. Again, for most of these weapons, you're probably going to want an action skill and elemental anointment, but for me, I have consecutive hits increase weapon damage by 1% per hit. I think that's a pretty cool anointment, and if you can get the 5% anointment on it, that's even better. Moving down, I have a standardized carrier with an action skill and elemental anointment. Very handy, and if you proc it along with your shield anointment and your grenade anointment, which I'm going to get to now, it is very, very powerful. For those curious, I also carry around a brainstormer just in case, but I never really have to use it. I carry around as many redistributors I can get my hand on with some action skill and elemental anointments, and then I have a shock and corrosive cutsman for the Maliwan Takedown, and again, if you can get that same anointment on them, you definitely want to do so. For my shield, I have a stopgap with an action skill and anointment with another element. This right here is a very good shield, not only because we're going to gain resistance to any certain element, but we also become immune on our shield break for 5 seconds. We also have a chance to absorb ammo, and we also get resistance to the last type of damage we receive for 3 seconds. I find that last effect right there really handy against radiation damage in particular, but overall a really great shield. Again, you're going to want to make sure you get that anointment because that is what is going to tie that recursion up and make it deal an absolute metric ton of damage. And if I haven't already mentioned, you're going to want to make sure when you're getting these elemental anointments that you're getting different elements each time. You don't want 3 items with shock elemental. So yeah, if you can, definitely make sure you're getting different elements on every piece of anointed gear you have. For my grenade, I have a cheddar shredder, and I know you guys are going to be like, wow, Epic, why do you have a cheddar shredder? And I only have it because it's the only grenade I have with an action skill and elemental anointment. Like, yeah, that's how important these anointments are for this build. Like, I'm actually using a cheddar shredder just to get it. But for those of you who can get your hands on the grenades you want, I would say you want to get something like a Mirth, Hex, or a Piss grenade. But honestly, you're not going to be using grenades a lot anyway, so it really doesn't matter what grenade you have, trust me. For my class mod, I have the Deadeye class mod, and look how rare this one is. I got a +4 to 2 fang, absolutely insane. And for those curious, the main reason we use this class mod is because Flak and their pets are going to deal 35% additional damage against enemies above 75% health. Doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, for bosses and groups of enemies with that recursion, it's going to help you shred them a lot quicker. Unfortunately, you get this from the Tink of Cunning or as a world drop, so it's quite hard to farm for. I am so sorry, please don't hate me. And for our artifact, I originally had the electric banjo. You guys know I love that artifact, but by far the best artifact for this build is the Last Stand Auto Idol. This relic is going to make it so that you are not only going to restore max health after killing enemies, which is very handy for staying alive, but you're also going to get temporary invulnerability when your health drops below 50%. I don't even need to tell you why that is important for Flak. And also, you're going to be regenning your health a lot when you have this artifact on, which also ties in with the skill tree, making sure you're always regenning your health. And that is pretty much the build. Now, let me explain the recursion to those of you who don't know about it. For those of you who do, you can skip ahead, but this is for the people that don't know why this gun is absolutely insane, and they're like, whoa, this is just a Maliwan shotgun. Epic, what makes it deal so much damage? So, when you shoot the recursion, the special effect is that it will bounce the beam to another enemy, but here's what's unique about it. I'm gonna shoot this Vander right here, and as you can probably see, it's quite hard to tell, but when it hits another enemy, it will bounce again, and if it hits another enemy, it will bounce again. So assuming you've got like infinite enemies, the beam from your recursion is going to hit every single one of them. Also, when you fire the recursion, you'll see it fires off 2 projectiles, which means you're basically going to be hitting enemies with 2 projectiles each time. And here is where them action skill and elemental anoints come in. As you can see, I usually shoot with the fire element on this recursion, and this is why. On action skill end, the next 2 magazines will have a 50% additional bonus corrosive corrosive damage. This means when I pop my rack attack, I'm now going to be shooting fire and corrosive damage in the same shot. For my shield, I get 50% bonus radiation damage with weapons for 10 seconds, so now I'm going to be shooting fire, corrosive, and radiation damage. And my grenade makes me get shock damage. So if you do the math, I'm shooting 8 projectiles at once after I pop my rack attack like this. And I bet you're thinking, yeah, I mean, that's cool and whatnot, Epic, but that's not going to shred an enemy. And to that, I would say you are very wrong, because when you shoot these extra elements, all of them beams, all 8 of them beams are going to rebound to nearby enemies and then bounce back again to the same enemy. This means, again, if you do the math, you can shoot at least 16 projectiles at a single enemy with one shot. It is absolutely insane and just so broken. And now the follow-up question is, Epic, is this a glitch? And the answer is no, this is not a glitch. This is a mechanic with anointments in the game, and if Gearbox patch it, they are just plain assholes. This is not a glitch, this is a mechanic. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I got a little group of enemies right here. I'm gonna shoot this manticore and not a lot. Not a lot. That was quite disappointing, right? You're probably thinking, you know, he got really embarrassed there. It didn't work how he wanted it to, but you'd be wrong. That worked exactly how I wanted it to. Now I'm going to show you guys what happens when you proc rack attack and do the same thing. Gonna proc it, find that same manticore, shoot him, and everything dies. Everything dies. Hello, it's an empty room. Everyone is dead. So if you've ever seen someone using a recursion and they're one-shotting Wotan and they're just messing up bosses everywhere, this is why. The recursion is by far, with anointments, the best weapon in the game right now, without a doubt. Like, there is no argument. This is the best weapon in the game right now. Now, on screen, I'm going to have playing some gameplay of the Maliwan Takedown for you guys. This was recorded on the 14th of January, 2 days before the balance patch comes out. If you guys don't know, on the 16th of January, Maliwan Takedown for a limited time, or so they say, is going to be made a lot easier. So I'm showing you this gameplay to show you that this build, as of right now, can solo the Maliwan Takedown on Mayhem 4 before it was even made easier. I'll leave some of this gameplay running here after I stop talking and end the video, but I just want to reiterate again a big thank you to fellow content creator Moxsy. Please go and check him out. Without him, this build would be half as decent as it already is, and that guy is just an absolute champ. But with that being said, guys, I really don't know what else to say to you. I've got some gameplay running for you, which I'm going to leave running here in a second, but yeah, that pretty much does it for my Feast Master Flak build. I've always wanted to make a flak build properly. The last one I made was before the game even came out, so it wasn't even a proper build, so I finally wanted to just go ahead and make one for Mayhem 4. So please go and try this build out, let me know how it performs, and let other people in the comment section know what you think of it. But with that being said, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comment section below by telling me what your favorite thing about the recursion is. And with that being said, thank you guys as always for your support. The amount of growth I've seen in the past week alone is absolutely insane, and I can't tell you just how much it means to me. So thank you guys as always for all of your support and watching the video, and have a nice day.